Welcome all to the financial aid workshop. So financial aid is kind of a big topic, and we've broken it down to these kind of key components. And we're going to be talking about what financial aid is, what financial need is, COA and EFC, the types of financial aid you can receive, and the applications you can complete to get financial aid, such as FAFSA and TASFA, which, by the way, we'll be having a FAFSA Drive October 1st when it does open, so keep an eye out for that, and the CSS Profile. So I guess we can start off by defining what financial aid is, just because, what is it? And it's just basically money that helps you pay for college. So this can include grants and scholarships, which you're gonna earn, whatever you want to call it. And this is free money, so this is something that you don't have to pay back. It's what ideally we would want. And there's work study, in which you work for your school to kind of get some extra money, and loans, which you will have to pay back eventually. How do you determine if you can receive financial aid, or just how much do I need? You can calculate this by your financial need, and to do this, you subtract the cost of attendance to your estimated family contribution. Now, what this is, the cost of attendance, or COA, is how much it costs to go to a certain college or university. So your COA is going to include tuition and fees, room and board, books and supplies, transportation, and personal expenses. So pretty much anything that entails what it's going to cost you, like the whole price tag for the university. So you subtract this from your EFC to get financial need. EFC is your expected family contribution, which is how much your family can be reasonably expected to contribute to your college education. And this is going to be calculated by the FAFSA. So what the FAFSA is going to look at is your family income, how much you're making, their assets, the number of dependents or people living in your house, and the number of people in your house going to college. So a key reminder is that your EFC is going to stay the same at every school, but your financial aid package is going to look a little bit different. So what this means is that, let's say you completed your FAFSA, and they think that your family can give you $1,000 for college. That's going to be the same when you apply to TCC, UTA, or TCU. So your EFC is always going to be $1,000, but your financial aid package, is going to look different just because the schools are priced differently. So TCC might give you $200, UTA might give you $5,000, TCU might give you kind of $20,000. It all really just depends on the school itself. But we can, if you have any questions, we can always go back to this too. And there's different types of financial aid you can receive, such as grants, which are going to be need-based typically. And there's scholarships, which are based in academic merit, talent, or program of study. Work study, in which you earn money by working part-time, and loans, which is money that's borrowed again. So we'll break this down in the next couple of slides. First, talking about grants. You can receive a few types of grants. The first type being a federal grant, which is money from the U.S. government. So again, you don't have to pay this back. You can receive state grants. That'll look different if you're like in California. But if you're in Texas, you can receive the Texas grant if you go to a 4-year public college like UTA. The TEOG is for 2-year colleges like TCC. And TEG is going to be for private institutions like TCU. You can also receive institutional grants, which is money given to you by the university, and private ones, which is, it's donors, it could be a corporation, it could pretty much anything that doesn't belong within these other categories. And then we have scholarships. So scholarships are going to be one of the most broad type of financial aid you can get, just because you can get a scholarship from getting good grades, or having certain test scores, or doing community service, or even making your prom dress out of duct tape. So if you just want a website that's going to have reliable resources and just scholarships that we know are the real deal, I do recommend you guys checking out our website, just because, there's so many places to start where you can get scholarships. Why not start here, be a little less stressed out, and if you kind of need help navigating it, just let us know. Then we have T3. So T3 has a lot of good qualities, But since this is a financial aid workshop, I'm just going to kind of talk about the financial aid. It could help y'all if y'all sign the pledge. So you just sign this pledge, and it's basically you promising that you are going to finish high school, graduate it, and do your FAFSA TASFA, and they promise back to help you. What this could look like is, let's say you want to start off at TCC, and you still can't cover it. Even though you did your FAFSA, you still need some money. Well, if you sign the pledge, T3 will pay off that remaining money that you still need for TCC. And they have a bunch of other support too if you want to transfer or emergency funding. But let's say you want to start a four-year university. So T3 will be partnering up with institutions. The list isn't released to the public yet, but it will be soon. Next, we have work study. So work study is basically you working for your school to earn money. That could be on campus or off campus. Typically, from experience, it's been on campus. But you're not going to be a full-time worker because work study does emphasize you being a student and just kind of doing part-time work. So it's going to be around 10 hours a week. It all depends on the school. And it's paid per hour. Since we're in Texas, it's usually going to be $7.25, but it could be different. And there's just a wide range of jobs. So you might be working as a library assistant or as a lab assistant, maybe a tour guide for your school. It all kind of depends. Now we have loans. So these are going to be the typical federal student loans, not kind of bank loans. And the most important thing to remember about loans is that you will have to pay these back. So everything else, that's kind of free. This you do have to pay back. And there's different types of federal loans. For example, the subsidized loan. So you do need to qualify for this one. It's need-based because there's no interest while you're still in school. So let's say you take out a loan freshman year of $3,000. That loan is going to be the same $3,000 your senior year because there's no interest buildup until you have to start paying 6 months after graduation. Then there's the unsubsidized loan, which is not interest free. So again, if you take out like a $3,000 loan freshman year, there's going to be interest buildup, so it'll be a little bit more. And then we have the direct plus loan, which is open to graduate, undergraduate students, and parents. And it's, again, not need-based. But you do need to get a credit check, so it's usually going to be taken out by kind of older students, like graduate students, or by your parents. So yeah, you can always start paying these off as soon as you take them out or while you still have them out. But, you don't have to start paying till 6 months after. And if this is kind of a lot, again, you can contact your advisor. You don't really have to specifically remember this all right now because, we will be going over it later on where you actually have to worry more about the financial aid aspect. Now, to the FAFSA, everyone's favorite part. If you're confused after this, we will be having a FAFSA Drive, so don't worry, October 1st. And what this is a free application for federal student aid, and it's for current and future college students, and it just determines your eligibility for financial aid. So what you're going to need to fill this application out is your student and parent social security number, your email addresses because you need to create your FSA ID before you actually do the FAFSA, and your tax return documents from 2019. So this can be like a W-2 form or a 1040, but again, we'll update you more on this. And then here's kind of a short video on how to create an FSA ID. Let me know if y'all can see it. Cool. So that was how to make an FSA ID. And again, we will be going over this later on too, so don't stress too much about it right now. But there's also the issue on who's my parent when I fill out the FAFSA. So we do have this nice little graphic that you can also find on the FAFSA website, which will just pretty much tell you if you're not sure who you put as your parent on the FAFSA. And you can take a moment to look at this or even take a screenshot. But for the most part, 9 times out of 10, your parent, the person you fill out the FAFSA with, it's going to be your parent, unless someone else has legally adopted you. But I know it can sometimes be confusing. And again, if you have any questions about this, don't hesitate to reach out one of your advisors. Another great thing that FAFSA has is their My Student Aid app, and it's available on iOS and Android, and it's very user friendly. It's really similar to the web version. You can begin, complete, save, and submit your FAFSA. So, if you don't want to do it online, you can definitely do it on this app, and it's completely safe. So next is the TASFA. So if you don't qualify for FAFSA, you can definitely do TASFA. There are a few requirements, but TASFA is a free application for financial aid for undocumented students, and it's a Texas thing, so you won't really find, you won't necessarily find it in other states. And it also opens October 1st. So again, you can come to the FAFSA Drive for TASFA as well. We're here to help. The requirements to qualify for TASFA are you have to have graduated or will graduate from a Texas high school. Y'all are at Eastern Hills, so that's a check right there. You have to have lived in Texas for 3 years leading up to high school graduation, lived or will live in Texas during the 12 months before enrolling in college. And to fill the TASFA out, you need your student and parent tax info again, and basic parent info and marital status. So it's very similar to the FAFSA. So remember, you either complete FAFSA or TASFA. The difference is just who it's targeted at. And also, TASFA is paper, so it's not electronic like the FAFSA is. So if you think or know that you have to do the TASFA, we just encourage you to come talk to us as soon as possible. Just because, again, it is paper, so you're going to need to fill one out for every college you apply to. But, after you fill out the first one, you can just kind of copy the rest, and it'll be fine. But, it's a little more manual labor, so please come talk to us. And along with the TASFA packet, you might need to send up some supplemental documents. So that could be like if you're a male, a selective, one of those, what are they called? Selective service forms, certificates. or an affidavit of residency, which just proves that you live where you live, yeah, definitely come talk to us about that. And then finally, we have the CSS Profile, which is through College Board. So I would like to emphasize that this isn't so like FAFSA. You either fill out FAFSA or TASFA, but with the CSS Profile, it's not an either or. Fill out the FAFSA too, and then if you want or need to, you can fill this out too. But this isn't like a solo application. Because it's used to determine eligibility for non-federal aids, and not every college requires it. So around 400 colleges do require it, and I think they're mostly private. So if you need to fill it out, you'll know, and then you can come talk to us. There is a $25 application fee for the first app, and then for additional schools, it's going to be $16, but there's fee waivers. So again, if you have any more questions about that, let us know and we'll answer those questions. And if I haven't mentioned it already, we'll be having a FAFSA Drive October 1st. It's virtual, 6 to 8 p.m. So please show up. We'll help you with anything you might need or any questions that we can answer. Yeah. And lastly, if you haven't already, please contact your advisor or join the reminds, just so you know what's going on around campus, with college or career or anything post-graduation. And we'll be happy to help you out.